You have reached Red Steele's Toy Collector Review. I'm your man, and today I'll be reviewing Transformers Bumblebee. Transformers Retro Series Bumblebee. But before I get into the actual review, I just want to go over some of the old school details on this packaging. Up in the corner here, you have the 8+, which is the age requirement for this figure. Across the top here, you have Transformers, more than meets the eye. Over here, the Autobot symbol, and next to that it says Heroic Autobot. But on the blister tray, you have Autobot Bumblebee, and next to that, you have an old school illustration of Bumblebee in his robot mode, and below that, you have a picture of the actual toy in his car mode. In the corner, you have the Hasbro emblem. Then the back of the packaging here, on the very top, you have a holographic sticker that says Official Licensed Product. Below that, you have Transformers, more than meets the eye. In the middle here, you have this beautiful montage of the Autobots doing battle with the Decepticons. Then over it says, it is a world of constant change, where things are not what they seem. It is the world of the Transformers, a world of heroic Autobots and evil Decepticons. And over here is text spec that reads, Autobot Bumblebee, function, espionage, quote, the least likely can be the most dangerous. And down here it says, small, eager, and brave, Bumblebee acts as a messenger and spy. Due to his small size, he dares to go where others can't and won't. And next to that, you have his coded text spec. And down here, you have the Volkswagen's official licensed product. Down here, you have the Transformers More Than Meets the Eye authentic logo. And next to that, you have the old school Hasbro emblem. Transformers Retro G1 Autobot Bumblebee. Bumblebee was released March 2025 with the suggested retail price of $24.97, and he was available exclusively at Walmart. Bumblebee was released along with the other Transformers Retro G1 figure, Autobot Gears. Bumblebee is a Generation 1 inspired figure that converts to his Volkswagen Beetle car mode in 20 steps. His accessories include his blaster and instructions. Bumblebee stands 5 inches tall, and he is meant for fans ages 8 and up. Now I'll go ahead and convert Bumblebee from his robot mode all the way to his Volkswagen Beetle car mode. But the first thing you always want to do before you transform any Transformers, you want to remove all the weapons and accessories. I'm going to take his blaster here. I'm going to put this off to the side. With the first step of the transformation, you want to turn Bumblebee all the way around. You have this backpack piece right here. I'm going to go remove that backpack piece by just pulling it away, just like that. I'm going to go and put this off to the side. With the second step of the transformation, you have this chest panel right here, but on this chest panel you have a hinge joint right there. With that chest panel, untab it and bring it down just like that. This is step number 3. Inside that chest panel, you have another yellow panel right there. On top of that panel, you have a hinge joint right there. Go into that yellow panel, flip it over the head, just like that. Step number 4. We're going to go to that chest piece now and bring it back up. We're going to tab it right into place, just like that. Because step number 5, you have Bumblebee's arms right there and right there. You have a hinge joint right at the elbow joint right there and right there. Then what you're going to take the forearm now and bend it back just like that. Do that to your side, take that forearm piece and bend it back just like that. So step number 6, go to that forearm piece now and bring it up just like that. Do that to your side, take that forearm piece now and bring it up just like that. Then step number 7, we'll turn Bumblebee around. You have the yellow panel on the inside right here with the wheel. You have a hinge joint on the very bottom right here. Once you take that yellow panel, you want to untab it. You want to go and bring the arm and the shoulder piece down just like that. Do that to your side, bring this piece, untab it, and bring it down just like that. This is step number 8. I want to turn Bumblebee back around. You have this waist right here. You have this swivel joint right there. We take that whole bottom half and rotate it all the way around just like that. This is step number 9. I want to turn Bumblebee all the way around. You have that hinge joint right there. You want to go and bend Bumblebee up just like that. Then step number 10, get these yellow panels now with that hinge joint. You want to bring it up just like that. When you do what they said, bring it up just like that. Step number 11. You want to take Bumblebee, and on back of his feet you have the door panel right there and right there. You have a hinge joint right there and right there. You want to take these door panels, you want to open them up just like that. Do that TSA, that door panel, and open it up just like that. Just step number 12, you have the whole extended yellow panel right there and right there. With these yellow panels, you want to go and slightly angle them just like that. Do that too, and slightly angle it just like that. Just step number 13, with that entire yellow panel now, you want to flip it up just like that. Do that TSA, that whole yellow panel, and flip it up just like that. Just step number 14, on the inside of the door panel, you have a little tab right there. On the side of the leg, you have a little porthole. You can take that panel and push it right in just like that. Do that to the other side to that yellow panel and push it in just like that. Then step number 15, the tip of the toes right here, you have these wheel pieces right there and right there. On the outside, you have a hinge nut right there and right there. And with these wheel pieces, you want to flip them up just like that. You want to do it to the other side of that wheel piece and flip it up just like that. Then step number 16, you want to take this front toe piece right into the hood, just like that. So step number 17, you want to go and push everything together, just like that. And step number 18, you want to take the door panels and push them together, just like that. And that's just to make sure everything's all together. There's a lot of pieces that need to snap together. So step number 19, you want to go and grab the shield that you removed earlier on. You want to flip it over. Get this tab right there. Get that hinge on it right there. You want to take this tab and flip it in just like that. And then the 20th and final step, that shield piece has two tabs right there and right there. On the back of Bumblebee here, you have two fists right there and right there, and you have two portholes right there and right there. You want to take everything, you want to make sure you take the tabs and put them right into the fist, so they go right into the fist. You want to make sure the shield goes right to the back of the car, and now you have Bumblebee and this full Volkswagen Beetle car. Now that Bumblebee in his Volkswagen Beetle car mode and on my display table, so I'm going to go over some of his play features and accessories. First, I talk about his blaster. And according to the instructions, we're going to arm Bumblebee with this blaster while he's in his vehicle mode. But there is a slight transformation for that. The first step of that transformation, you have that shield piece right here. With that shield piece, we're going to untab it, and we're going to put this off to the side. And step number 2, you have this door panel right there and right there. And you have a hinge joint right there and right there. And all they really want you to do in this step is take that door panel and untap it from the leg just like that. Do that to your side, to that door panel, unpeg it from the leg just like that. This is step number 3. You have this back panel right there and right there. You want to do the same thing. You want to kind of bring it away from the body just like that. Do that to your side, bring that panel out just like that. This is step number 4. You have these arm pieces right here. You want to take the forearm. You want to bring it up just like that. Do that to your side, that forearm piece, and bring it up just like that. So step number 5. You want to take these arm pieces now. You want to straighten them out just like that. Do that to your side, that arm piece, and straighten it out just like that. So step number 6. You want to take these arm pieces right at the shoulder. You want to bring it up just like that. Do that to your side, that arm piece, and bring it up just like that. This is step number 7. Right at the elbow joint, you want to go and take that forearm. You want to bring it down just like that. Do that to your side. Bring that forearm down just like that. This is step number 8. Look at these panels now. You want to bring them together just like that. This is step number 9. You want to take these door panels. You want to slap them right into place just like that. This is step number 10. Straighten everything out. I'm going to grab that shield piece again. You have that tab on the inside. You want to kind of flip it forward just like that. Because on the bottom of the shield piece, you have a tab right there and right there. So have this fist, you have a porthole right there and right there. I want to that shield piece now. Put it right in his fist, just like that. That's why I'm sure they're both tabbed into place. This is step number 11. Get that tab right there. We're going to grab that blaster. In the back of the blaster, you have kind of a makeshift porthole right there. I'll make sure that thing tabs right into place just like that. And now you have Bumblebee armed while he's in his vehicle mode. But I'm not a big fan of this mode. It's kind of hokey and it's like really bulky. I kind of wish they just included a porthole where you could just tab this blaster in. But I mean, nonetheless, it's a cool play feature. And I mean, for us adult collectors, it seems a little hokey, but for a kid, this is this is the cat's meow. This is like really cool. But I'm personally not a big fan of arming my Transformers while they're in their vehicle mode unless they're placed in a part of the transformation, which it does not in this case. And I'm not a big fan of arming my Transformers while they're in their alt mode. And the alt mode is anything that's not the robot mode, such as a vehicle mode, an animal mode, in this case a Volkswagen vehicle mode. So I'm going to take Bumblebee, take him off camera, and convert him back into his full vehicle mode. And voila, he's back in his vehicle mode. Very cool vehicle mode, and I love that they went classic with this Volkswagen Beetle car mode, and it looks just like one. I mean, on the cartoon series, the original generation cartoon series, he did not convert into per se Volkswagen mode, and actually owned an original Bumblebee to do a side-by-side comparison. This is kind of the mode they featured in the cartoon series. It was kind of like super deformed, very cute. But if you do a side-by-side comparison, you kind of see the differences with both figures. But what I love about this version of Bumblebee is he is a redeco of the Netflix version that came out a few years ago, where until this point in time, that was my definitive Bumblebee, and I do have that one on hand to do a side-by-side comparison also. And as you can see, every generation of Bumblebee has been different. I mean, I believe that this engineering behind this vehicle mode was more in line with the first Masterpiece version of Bumblebee, and they incorporate a lot of the engineering, which is kind of cool because you have a Masterpiece figure that was able to be released in the mainstream at a better price point, and this figure was very cool at the time. I mean, the blue translucent windows, but I think with this new version of the retro cardback series version of Bumblebee, they went more with the toy scheme, or the toy color scheme, which you can see right here where it was black and yellow, and they brightened up the yellow from the Netflix version of Bumblebee because it was a darker yellow. It kind of fit more the original vehicle color scheme, you know, from the original Volkswagen Beetle from back in the 70s. You know, they had a kind of darker yellow, where this one was more to match the toy version of Bumblebee. And as you can see, the Autobot symbol was on the top of the car here for the original toy. They tried to do that. I kind of wish they kept it facing the other direction. But I remember in the cartoon series, there were times in the cartoon series where the Autobot symbol was on the hood of the car, just like this version, the Netflix version. And they did not do that with this version. And that's probably because it was more in line with the toy version. But very cool. I'm going to rotate them so you can see all the similarities and differences between all three figures. And the Netflix version of Bumblebee is identical to the retro cardback version of Bumblebee. All they did is they changed the color scheme a little bit, and they didn't go with the translucent window. They went with the black windows to kind of match the color scheme from the original toy. But nonetheless, if you did miss out on this Bumblebee, it was very hard to find. It was very limited run. And I mean, this one was kind of hard to find too. I mean, he was on a very limited run too. But if you're able to get your hands on this Bumblebee, I'd be sure to pick him up. I mean, they do have the Studio Series version of Bumblebee out right now, and that is my definitive version of Bumblebee, because out of the two versions, I feel like this version of Bumblebee was better in its vehicle mode, but in the robot mode, not getting that in a moment, was much more definitive with the Studio Series version of Bumblebee. Now that Bumblebee in his robot mode, and on my display table, I once again want to go over some of his play features and accessories. First, I talk about his blaster. According to the instructions, we'll arm Bumblebee with this blaster while he's in his robot mode. And as supposed to handle the blaster here is actually a 5mm peg. Each one of his fists has a 5mm porthole. Take that blaster, you plug in either one of his fists, and now you have Bumblebee armed with his blaster. Really cool, and this accessory is large. I love it. Very, very cool. So next thing I want to talk about is actually on his backpack right here. With his backpack, you want to unpeg it from his back just like that. You want to flip it over, and back in the backpack here, you have a 5mm peg. You want to take that peg, plug it right into his fist, and now it becomes his shield. And now you have Bumblebee fully armed with both his blaster and his shield. But this figure is chock full of play features, but this blaster actually splits into 3 different parts. I don't go and do that because the next way to arm Bumblebee with this blaster is you take this front part of the blaster and you unpeg it just like that. I'm going to put that off to the side. You get this black piece right here, and at the bottom of this black piece you have this little tab right there. On top of his shoulder you have a little porthole right there. I want to take this blaster now, plug it right into his shoulder just like that, and now it becomes a shoulder cannon, and now you have Bumblebee armed with his shoulder cannon. really cool. And there's also a third variation of arm Bumblebee. You want to take this cannon now, you want to go take that black piece and unpeg it from the back of this blaster, just like that. On the bottom of this, again, you want to take that tab, side of the shoulder, you have a little porthole. You want to go and peg that right in his shoulder, just like that. I want to take his shield now, I'm going to go and put it right back in his back, just like that. You want to go take his blaster now and put it right in his fist, just like that. And this other blaster, again, the handle is a 5mm peg. You plug that right in his fist, and now you have Bumblebee fully armed with all of his blasters. And the cool thing is you also have his shield stored on his back. Very cool figure. I do feel this Bumblebee's fantastic, and for a while there he was my definitive Bumblebee. And let me start with this. Bumblebee has a lot of history behind him because he's been remolded and retooled so many times, and it's a fantastic mold. And that's why it was probably reused so many times. But originally this figure is based off of Earthrise Cliffjumper, this is the Studio Series version of Cliffjumper, which is a Target exclusive. And what it was is this version of Cliffjumper was actually very faithful to the animated model, but the car mode was a little different. It was based more on the actual Toyota Celica. It wasn't really based on the vehicle mode from the animated model from the Generation cartoon series or Transformers the movie, because the vehicle modes for a lot of the mini-bots were super deformed. And when Earthrise came out with the mini-bots, a lot of them weren't super deformed yet. And I know when they went ahead and remolded Bumblebee for the Studio Series, they went ahead and gave him that super deformed look where the vehicle mode isn't as great, but I mean the robot mode is very faithful to the anime model from the Transformers, the movie, and the Generation cartoon series. Well, I know they're remolding Cliffjumper later on where he has that super deformed look, and they had that super deformed look because the original toys for the mini-bots were from a toy line from Japan, and they were produced by Takara, and they were called Microman. So when Hasbro went over to Japan to license some of these toy products to bring them over as Transformers in the United States, that was one of the toy lines, and Bumblebee was a little Volkswagen Bug, and he was a Celica, and they had that super deformed look because they were based more on a very popular toy line called Penny Races, where you put little pennies in the back of these cars, and these cars were super deformed, very cool. So that's how this Cliffjumper and this Bumblebee started off as in the Generation cartoon series. And Brawn and Cliffjumper and all of them were all based on that same toy line. But later on, what happened was Walmart wanted an exclusive version of Bumblebee because that Bumblebee that was released with the War for Cybertron for the main line was a core class figure that came with Spike. And he didn't really fit that toy line. He was a little bit smaller too. He didn't really scale well with the other figures. So when scaling became more of an issue, Netflix went ahead and released their version of Bumblebee, which is this one right here, which is a retooling of Cliffjumper. So this figure is actually a redeco, and the redeco is just a change in color scheme because the redeco for the retro version of Bumblebee is more based on the Generation 1 toy, which I'll bring out in a second. This one right here is more based on the animated model from the Netflix series, and maybe the Generation 1 cartoon series for us Generation 1 purists. But what happened was they wanted to keep the color scheme and maybe some of the labeling more in line with the toy for this version of Bumblebee, so that's why you get that sticker on the chest. Here you have it on his foot, which sometimes in the Generation cartoon series he did have the Autobot symbol on his hood, and I don't really recall if he had it on his chest in the cartoon series. But let me go ahead and bring out my Generation 1 version of Bumblebee so you guys can see kind of the reference I'm making. And what happens when they released the retro version of Bumblebee, they based this redeco more on the toy color scheme with the black windows and the bright yellow. As you can see from the original toy, you get the Autobot symbol on the chest. The cool thing about my Bumblebee is I kept him in such great shape over the years that his holographic symbol still works. And this was the original authentic, proof of authenticity back in the day. So if Transformers supported this, that means it was an original authentic product and not a reissue or a knockoff, which there was a lot of issues with that, I guess, in the past. So that's why Hasbro and Takara came out with those holographic stickers. I'm going to go and put the OG off to the side. I'm going to put the Netflix version off to the side. Because later on, they did some other fun variations, like they did Goldbug, which Goldbug was a figure, or it was actually Bumblebee, where Bumblebee in season, I believe 3 got damaged, and he was reconstructed as Goldbug. In the comic book, same thing. He was, I guess, battling with the Joes, and the Joes blasted Bumblebee and they reconstructed him as Goldbug. So I mean, depending on what continuity you want to follow, this is Goldbug. And I feel like Goldbug is perfect for this mold. And he has a hood in the back here, much like the toy did, and the anime model from the cartoon series. So this mold suits more Goldbug. Because when I bring out the Studio Series version of Bumblebee, you can see that this makes more sense to me. That this character was reconstructed into this character instead of just popping on a new head and changing the color scheme when you went from this character to that character. But let me go ahead and bring in Studio Series Bumblebee, do a side-by-side comparison, and then you go and take these weapons and put them off to the side so you get a clearer look at, Bumblebee. Because I'm kind of torn between which is the definitive Bumblebee. I do really love this mold. This mold is great transformation. It's just that the vehicle mode looked too much like the real-life vehicle instead of that super deformed look, which I kind of explained to you guys earlier on, which this figure does have that super deformed look, but it wasn't really a licensed Volkswagen product, so they couldn't really make it too much look too much like the Volkswagen Beetle. But the robot mode is pretty much spot on to the anime model from the cartoon series, and that's what a lot of us Transformers fans like. When we buy our Transformers products, we want the robot modes to look more like what it looked like in the cartoon series and in the movie, and that's how we're going to display them. But I do feel like this Bumblebee kind of slightly edges over this Bumblebee, and I do love this Bumblebee, but I do feel like this is my definitive Bumblebee when I display it on my shelves. But nonetheless, we're going to Goldbug and we'll put them off to the side. This Bumblebee is a fantastic figure. He just has a lot of cool play features, and I know when Netflix brought him out, bring him back in, like I said, he's got the brighter yellow, so you can tell the difference between the two different Bumblebees, because in the aftermarket, this Bumblebee blew up in price because it was really a sought after figure. Such a limited run. So I'm glad Netflix went ahead and brought this figure out. The only bad thing about this figure is it's supposed to be a retro cardback figure, a retro figure, so it's supposed to be based on an original Generation 1 toy. When you look at the Generation 1 toy, it's a different face. And I kind of wish they remolded his face to look more like the original toy, because when they brought out Gears, they did that with Gears where they remolded Gears' face to look more like the toy. And I hear they're bringing out a Brawn where they do the same thing, where Brawn does have the Studio Series body, but they made the color scheme more match the toy, and they remolded the head to look more like the original toy. But hopefully, maybe Hasbro or Takara will learn from the lesson and will go ahead and maybe remold the head and release him later on, so he looks actually more like the original Generation 1 toy. But if you guys found any of the information in this review valuable, please like and share this video. Also, if you really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel, and while you're there, click that bell to be notified of any future videos. I want to thank you guys for watching Red Steele's Awesome Toy Collector Review. I'll check you guys out next time.